It's a forgery, said the human girl. The Dragon Emperor looked closer and turned pale. Beginning. The Grand Hall of Orlith was carved from the bones of stars. Pillars of black stone arched upward, glowing faintly with veins of molten silver, and the banners of the Dragon Empire fluttered under artificial winds. At the far end of the hall, seated upon a throne forged from the crystallized scales of 1,000 ancestors, sat Emperor Vaelthar, ruler of half the known galaxy and undisputed monarch of dragons. His form was vast, scaled in hues of deep crimson, with golden horns curling from his skull and eyes that burned with molten fire. Before him knelt a line of petitioners, merchants from Orion, warlords from the frontier, and nobles draped in silks shimmering with nanofibers. All awaited judgment, approval, or dismissal, and among them stood one unlikely figure. A human girl in patched gray clothes, with grease-stained fingers and eyes too sharp for her own good. Her name was Kaelin Rourke, 22 years old, orphaned on a mining colony, and, unknown to most, possessed of a gift that made her dangerous. She wasn't supposed to be there. Kaelin had come only as translator for a merchant who dealt in artifacts scavenged from ruins. But as fate would have it, the moment the merchant produced his prized relic, an ancient scroll said to be from the age of First Flame, the Emperor himself leaned forward. His great claws extended delicately, and with a reverent hiss, he took the scroll. This, Vaelthar intoned, his voice rumbling to the bones of the chamber, is said to be the Edict of Binding, the very decree my forebear, the first Emperor, wrote to seal Dragonkind's pact with the cosmos. If true, it is beyond price. The hall erupted in gasps. Nobles murmured, merchants preened, and the artifact dealer bowed so low his forehead scraped the floor. But Kaelin frowned. Something was wrong. She tilted her head, her translator implant buzzing faintly as it scanned the glyphs. The letters weren't old. They were modern forgeries, designed to fool anyone who lacked a peculiar sight. Kaelin had always been able to see resonance in symbols, the vibration of truth, the echo of origin. The scroll? It sang false. She should have kept quiet. Humans in the Dragon Empire lived carefully, especially ones as lowborn as her. But when the Emperor's eyes gleamed with triumph, Kaelin's mouth betrayed her. It's a forgery, she said softly. The hall froze. The words hung like blades in the air. The Emperor's vast head swung toward her, eyes narrowing into molten slits. What did you say, human? Her pulse pounded in her ears, but she lifted her chin. The scroll, it isn't real. The ink is fresh. The resonance doesn't match the age of First Flame. Someone's tricking you. A collective hiss rippled to the dragons present. Several nobles snarled, their wings bristling in outrage at the audacity of a human speaking so boldly. Guards surged forward, but Vaelthar raised a claw, halting them. He lowered his head until his golden eyes bored into her very soul. Show me. Kaelin swallowed, then stepped forward. The parchment trembled slightly as she touched it. She pointed to the curling glyphs. These marks? They're styled to mimic ancient script, but the strokes are too symmetrical, too uniform. Old ink fades unevenly. This one hums with synthetic resonance, she hesitated, realizing no one else would hear the hum. I mean, it's made with nanocarbon, not stardust ink. If you test it, you'll see. The Emperor's nostrils flared. He lifted the scroll closer, his inner vision sharpening. For a long moment, silence reigned. Then Vaelthar's claws trembled. For the first time in centuries, the Dragon Emperor turned pale. Middle. The hall erupted in chaos. Nobles screeched accusations of the merchant. Guards seized him, and whispers darted like fire across the chamber. A forgery, presented to the Emperor himself. A human had spotted it when dragons had not. Kaelin tried to back away, but a claw larger than her entire body slammed into ground, blocking her path. You, the Emperor growled, his voice no longer ceremonial but sharp with something else, fear. Come with me. Before she could protest, he scooped her up in one massive claw, shielding her with golden scales, and stormed out of the hall. They emerged into the private sanctum, a chamber hidden behind the throne. Unlike the opulence of the hall, this room was stark. Walls carved with runes, a single dais in the center, and star maps flickering across holographic panes. Vaelthar placed Kaelin upon the dais and loomed over her. Tell me, he rumbled, how could you see what I did not? No dragon has pierced the veil of forgery so swiftly. Kaelin's knees shook. I just see things differently. Always have. Patterns, truths. My father said it was a curse. I thought it was just strange. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Not a curse. A gift, when I thought lost. He turned away, pacing, claws scraping stone. Listen well, human. That scroll was not merely treasure. It was a key. If true, it would have confirmed my dynasty's claim to divine rule. But if false, his voice dropped, it means someone is attempting to rewrite history. And only a power close to me could dare. Kaelin hesitated. Why does it matter so much? It's just history. His roar shook the room. History is power. Without the edict, my reign is a shadow. If word spreads of this forgery, rivals will say the Empire stands on lies. Civil war will follow. Kalen paled. So what do you want me to do? Veilthar turned back toward her, his expression unreadable. Help me find who dares to forge the first flame. You will see truths where others cannot. And if you refuse, he lowered his head until his teeth gleamed inches from her. You will not live long enough to regret it. Kalen's stomach dropped. She had no choice. Their investigation began that very night. Veilthar disguised his presence, shrinking his massive form through ancient magic, appearing more like a humanoid dragon, tall-scaled, but able to walk beside Kalen without shattering every floor. Together they scoured archives, interrogated merchants, and delved into ruins. Kalen quickly discovered that the forgery was not isolated. Everywhere she looked, artifacts were wrong. Ancient texts rewritten. Relics subtly altered. Even star maps bore tiny discrepancies. A conspiracy stretched like a spider's web through the Empire. At each discovery, Veilthar grew darker, his pride wounded deeper. Someone seeks to unmake the past, he muttered one night as they studied a fractured tablet. If they succeed, dragons may forget who they are. Our power, undone not by war, but by lies. Kalen realized something then. For all his fury and arrogance, the Emperor was afraid, not of enemies on the battlefield, but of shadows in the mind. And perhaps, deep down, of the fragility of truth itself. But their enemies had noticed. More than once, assassins struck, cloaked figures with plasma blades, or shadow dragons bred for silence. Each time, Veilthar shielded Kalen with fire and fury, though he cursed her afterward for endangering him. Still, she began to sense a strange bond forming between them. You could have let me die, she said once, as he nursed a wound. You are useful, he growled, but his eyes betrayed something softer. The deeper they went, the more terrifying the truth became. In a hidden vault beneath the ruined moon of Southris, Kalen uncovered the final piece, a chamber filled with endless forged scrolls, stacked in precise order, each one an imitation of dragon history, designed to overwrite the original. At the center stood a being cloaked in starlight. No dragon, no human, but something older. Its voice echoed without sound. You should not have come, it said. The Empire's truth is a chain. We break it and the future is free. Veilthar roared, fire filling the chamber. You dare rewrite the legacy of dragons. But Kalen hesitated. The being's words rang strangely true. If history was a chain, maybe it bound more than dragons. Maybe it bound everyone, including humans forced into servitude. Who are you? She asked. The figure turned toward her. We are the unwritten, beings erased from history when dragons claimed the stars. We forge so the truth returns. Her heart pounded. If what they said was true, then the dragons had stolen more than power. They had stolen memory itself. Ending. The chamber shook as Veilthar and the unwritten clashed. Fire roared, illusions shattered, and Kalen ducked behind the relic stacks. But even as the Emperor fought, she realized something vital. She alone could see which scrolls were true and which were forged. The unwritten multiplied, forming dozens of phantoms. Veilthar's claws slashed, but he could not tell real from false. His strikes passed through illusions, his flames wasted. Kalen, he bellowed, tell me which is real. Her throat tightened. This was the moment. If she pointed wrongly, the Emperor would fall, and the unwritten would triumph. If she aided him, the Empire's grip would remain. But as she gazed at Veilthar, bruised, bleeding, yet refusing to yield, she realized something. He was cruel, yes, arrogant, yes, but he cared about his people, his empire, even about her, in a way he would never admit. And though the unwritten spoke of freedom, their methods were lies upon lies. She made her choice. There, she shouted, pointing at the central figure. That's the real one. Veilthar roared, unleashing a torrent of white flame. The illusion shattered. The chamber quaked, and the unwritten screamed as fire consumed it. The scrolls around them disintegrated, forgeries reduced to ash. When silence fell, only Kalen and the Emperor remained. He turned to her, smoke curling from his jaws. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then, softly, he said, You saved more than me today. You saved the memory of dragons. Kalen's voice shook. Maybe, but you should know, the unwritten were right about one thing. History isn't always what you think. Maybe dragons weren't the only ones who shaped it. His eyes darkened, but not with anger, with thought. Perhaps, he admitted, and perhaps one day you will show me truths even I fear to see. He lowered his massive head until his gaze met hers. Stay in my court, Kalen roared. Serve as seer of truth. No longer a mere human, one who speaks even when dragons tremble. She swallowed hard, then nodded. I'll stay, but only if you promise me this. No more lies. No more chains made of history. Veilthar's lips curled into something halfway between a smile and a snarl. We shall see. When they returned to the Grand Hall, Whispers spread like wildfire. The emperor walked taller, Kalen at his side, no longer hidden among petitioners, but standing where all could see. Some dragons sneered at the sight of a human elevated so high. Others bowed, sensing change. And though the conspiracies of Forge history were not yet ended, one truth was undeniable. A human girl had spoken. It's a forgery. And the dragon emperor, who had ruled unchallenged for centuries, had turned pale.